Hello friends, welcome to this investment banking tutorial from Wall Street Mojo. So I hope this provided a good glimpse of the different kinds of functions investment banking is into. So please note that this was more of a bird's eye view of individual departments, and if you dig deep into it, you'll find that it is a whole science altogether within each function. And as an investment bank, potential carriers, if you want to kind of look at, you will note that the hierarchy involves different levels. One, it starts with an analyst, then you move to an associate, then you become a vice president, and then finally a managing director. So let's now look at how these roles and responsibilities are within an investment bank through this video. Let us now look at some of the key players within the investment banking domain. Let's take an example. There's a WNK investment bank, and if you look at an investment bank, you'll have these different positions. One of them would be called as associate. There would be a team of analysts. Then we'll find that someone by the name of vice president will also be there, and there'll be a couple of managing directors. So what is the role of individually each and every one within the investment bank? So let's talk about bottom of the food chain. Who is the analyst and what is the typical profile like? So analyst is someone basically whose main role is to kind of create financial models, do company analysis, do some hardcore data punching. So something like create a model from scratch, populate the historicals, do some industry research, do some due diligence, create some pitch books. So essentially analyst role is all about getting your hands dirty, and someone who is basically is just a graduate, let's say in history or maybe finance, is kind of eligible for this kind of a job. So let's look at who are the associates. So associates primary role is basically that they check the work of the analyst. So they are one level up over and above the analyst, so that's why they're called as an associate. They write text for the presentations. They basically oversee the job of an analyst, and they also sometimes interact with clients as well as other investment banks who are presenting the other side of the party or the client. So they may interact. So a lot of dirty work needs to be also done here in terms of financial analysis when a person is an associate. So think of spending at least 4 or 5 years after you join an investment bank as an associate before you become someone called a vice president. Now, who is a vice president? So obviously we are moving up the hierarchy, moving up the food chain. So obviously vice president would be overlooking the associates and the analysts. But what is the key role? Think of vice president as a project manager. When we talk about investment banks have to make a lot of client presentations and handle different kinds of verticals. Vice president is someone who is handling a certain side of a project. He handles the structure of the presentation before going for the meeting, how it should be look like, what is a pitch book, a design of a pitch book. So all these things needs to be managed, and he also talks to the senior investment bankers and the analysts and basically the associates. So all in all, he is one of the most important guys within an investment bank, just a level below the final one, who is called as a managing director. So what's the role of a managing director? Managing director is basically someone like a father figure. Now, his responsibility is to kind of develop and cultivate relationships. Assume that the managing director is highly networked, would be attending conferences, would be meeting clients, debating and discussing things about valuations and going to high level meetings. And managing directors may focus on one of the industries and kind of develop relationships with the management. And obviously his primary role is to bring business to the company. So he's the one who is at the top and is handling the part where the sales or the business comes from the investment bank.